Joining me right now is Texas Congressman Roger Williams. He's the House Small Business Committee chairman and a member of the Financial Services Committee. Congressman, thanks very much for being here. Walk us through what's going on
Merry
here,
Christmas.
because the House passed this defense bill. It has money to Ukraine already in it. Meanwhile, you all are arguing over a bill that's stuck in the Senate that would send money to Ukraine, Israel, but also come up with border policy changes.
Well, we have a real argument here. I mean, Schumer's got this bill, and they're trying to bring everything together. The bottom line is we need to protect our border on our southern border in the United States. I mean, the Ukraine thing has been going on. And the problem we have is we don't see a plan. We see money going over there. The president has spent more time worrying about Ukraine than he has the border. I mean, we got a president that hadn't even basically been to the southern border. So we'll see what they come up with. But I'm not one of those that wants to mix Ukraine and border funding. They need to be separate. They're separate issues. So we'll see what happens, what they can come up with.
Yeah, but did you not just agree to money to Ukraine in the defense bill?
Well, we had the defense bill that passed. I personally voted against it because there's some other issues in there I didn't think should be in there. But there is money to Ukraine. But now we need, and Israel, we need to take care of Israel. But we got to go back to the southern border where we're losing our sovereignty. We have people coming over here. We talked about it before, from Russia, from China, and everywhere else. They're coming over here to hurt this country.
It's just incredible what's going on at the border. Do you see any movement at the White House as far as changing policy to secure our border?
Well, I don't. Yeah, I don't. I mean, they act like it doesn't exist. And like I said earlier, we've got a president and a vice president never have been to the doggone border. And now they're beginning to talk about it a little bit, but Mayorkas still's out there saying there's no problem. But we hear Biden begin to say that Republicans need to come up with a plan and this and that. He needs to, well, there's plenty of plans. It's called a wall. It's called Stay in Mexico policy. It's called Title 42. It's called more judges. That's a plan that works, and we got to get back to that. But we've got to defend our border because now they're talking about our northern border being something that we need to be looking at, and it's not defended as it should be.
Yeah, it's a great point on the northern border as well. I want to turn to economics
Right.
here and get your take from the Financial Services Committee. I mean, President Biden is headed to Wisconsin next week. He claims he's going to be talking about his Investing in America agenda. He plans to tout his Bidenomics policy and so-called small business boom. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre is dodging Fox Business's White House correspondent Edward Lawrence's questions. He asked her about inflation and high prices, which remain elevated. Watch this.
So you mentioned the price of eggs, milk, and gas are down over the past year, but what do you say to Americans who are looking at the month that President Biden came into office? Eggs are up 24%, milk is up 17%, all types of gas is up 37%, and the prices overall are up 17%.
The president actually spoke to this not too long ago, I believe on Tuesday, actually, just a couple of days ago, and he says we know there's more work to be done, right? And that things are still unaffordable. The president's going to continue to fight for the American people, continue to make sure they have a little bit of breathing room. Is there more work to be done? Absolutely. But we have seen some prices go down.
Congressman, how would you assess the economic story today?
Well, the economic story is the Biden administration has no clue what they're talking about. The Main Street America is hurting. We've got high inflation. We still have supply chain issues. Interest rates, I'm glad the Fed decided not to raise this quarter, but they're still way too high. Principal balances are higher than they've ever been on the products you just talked about. And even my business, in the automobile business, they're so high. So people are having to cut back. They're trying to work overtime. Small businesses can't keep up with inflation and paying their employees. So the Biden administration has got no clue. What we've got to start doing is we've got to quit borrowing money. We've got to slow this inflation down, and we've got to be able to create inventory so merchants can discounts and bring prices down. There's a lot we can do. They're doing nothing because they don't understand what the economic issue is. But Main Street is hurting, and we need to understand that and begin to get prices down. I'm telling you, Maria, we have to have inventory so we can discount inventories to help prices come down and quit borrowing and get our economy back in line.
So what can you do to help the situation? I mean, Congressman, let's face it, the inflation situation is still elevated. It's cutting into people's ability to spend money on anything other than the essentials. And yet he's telling us, the president, that he's created all these jobs. Just to be clear, most of those jobs that he's saying he created were jobs that were snapbacks from all the jobs lost during COVID.
No, there's no question. I mean, new jobs are not being created. You're exactly right. You're bringing people back that you lost. And businesses are finding themselves, they're not able to grow because we got regulations everywhere. I mean, look, you've seen the numbers, but since Biden's been in office, $350 billion of regulations have been put on Main Street, and it takes 200 million man hours to offset those $1 billion worth of regulations. And people are hiring more compliance officers and loan officers. If you're a bank, if you're a business like mine, you're hiring compliance officers, jobs you never had before that create nothing for the business but just keep you within regulations this government's creating. So we got to cut regulations. We've got to quit printing money and borrowing money, and we got to create inventories, and we got to create a supply chain so prices can come down.
Well, I suspect he's going to blame everybody else next week when he's in Wisconsin, Congressman. How are we going to pay for all of these new regulations? Do you expect this president's going to push to raise taxes again?
Well, I think he is. He blames everybody for profit. You know, no matter how big or small your business is, if you appear to make money, that all of a sudden is a dirty word and you've hurt somebody. So the fact of the matter is if he continues to increase more regulations and this sort of thing, business can't stay up with it. So his economy that he's talking about is a loser. I hope he runs on it, because if you run on high inflation, high interest rates, no supply side, open borders, that's a pretty tough thing to win on. So I hope he continues to talk about Bidenomics.
Well, we'll see if he says once again something that plays with the populism out there, and that is pay your fair share, even in the face of evidence that, in fact, his son did not pay his fair share, and perhaps he didn't either. We'll see what the House Republicans come up with. Congressman, thank you. Good to see you this morning.
Thank you very much. Merry Christmas.
Roger Williams joining us this morning. Merry Christmas to you.